We just gave away two more items, and then we're gonna start another raffle here for Chris's book here in just a couple seconds. So
Oh, hang on. I got a story about that
yeah,
book.
please tell us a story while I set up the raffle. That'd be great.
Okay, so here's the story. If you have not read this book, oh, I got to shut this off, even though we all want to
There
see
you go.
Dave's
That
face.
works. That's better.
If you have not read this book, don't read it. Okay, just don't. Don't read it because it's not a great book. Okay, it was my first one. There's a lot of errors in it. There's some problems, things like that. My latest one, much, much better. But this particular book, okay, hang on. I got to shut the background off so I can do this properly. This particular book is interesting because on page 113 is this picture. Mr. Simon Cowell talking about anger. Now, what I didn't know, one of my other early author mistakes, is that I just thought when you find a picture on the internet, it's open source, so you can use it.
Oops.
So somehow, and I don't know how this happened, but 3,956 copies were sold of this book, and someone from Mr. Cowell's camp found out that we used this picture, and we got sued. Now, we didn't actually get sued. We got threatened to be sued if I didn't change the chapter. So my publisher pulled all the books off the shelf, burned them at the stake, and said, you got to rewrite that chapter. Now, it just so happened that before they got burned, I had 10 or so of them in my possession for giveaways. And this is my personal copy. There are only 3,956 of these on Earth. And when I die, it will be worth enough to buy a Starbucks coffee. In addition, during COVID, if you run out of toilet paper, this paper is so soft. It is just so nice. It feels wonderful on the bum. So you can raffle for this book, and I will write whatever you want in it. Like maybe something intelligent like pineapple pizza sucks. I don't know. Bruce Hornsby's a load of crap. Something intelligent like that. I can write whatever you want, and you win it. But this is my personal copy, so I think Heath is starting that raffle now.
Yeah, raffle has been started. Again, friendly reminder for people who are just coming in, it's exclamation raffle and then the number of tickets you want to buy. So this is $5 per ticket on this one. So exclamation bucks will tell you the bucks you have. If you say exclamation raffle 1, that is $5 you are spending to enter in this raffle.
Yes, signed, Sin Shepherd. If you want it signed, if you would rather not devalue it any more than it already is, I won't sign it. But if you win it, you can tell me whatever. I mean, within reason. I should reason this because Dave will win it and then ask me to do something horrible with it. But within reason, I will do whatever you want to the book before I ship it out to you, inscribe it, whatever. I mean, look, April won this apron and she wanted me to rub it all over myself before I sent it to her. She asked for that, I think. So. Right, April? Right? Yeah, I can't hear you say no, so I think that's it. I think that was the answer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kuala Lumpur, really? In a
I
bookstore?
just saw that one on the Patronus Towers. That's freaking awesome.
Wow, that is so cool. Hey, next time you see that, if you see that again, take a picture and send it to me. That's just cool. It always makes me feel happy. You want to hear something funny? I was teaching a class in Bristol, UK, and I had two Australian federal agents there, whatever they're called in Australia, so like FBI for Australia. And the woman that was there as part of that team had this book, and she had one with Simon Cowell in it. And she said she bought it in Australia from Amazon when it first came out. And I'm like, out of 3,956 copies, how did someone get the one that had Cowell in it in Australia?
You should have asked her how long it took to ship.
I don't know. She must have waited like a month.
Oh, gosh, yeah. That's funny.
Totally cool. We should probably shut up and let you guys and Chris and Dave hang out and have fun.
I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
No, you should join in. Just come hang out.
Chris said he would do whatever anybody wanted with that book, by the way. So anything.
No,
anything.
I said within reason, Dave. I said within reason. Within reason.
Chris, I heard anything. You can't renege now.
I don't know. Why did we? So, Shane, why? You made me beg him to come. Wait, what are you doing? Why am I on your screen like this?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Dave.
Awesome. I love it. I got a message back from Eddie, by the way. He's like, yeah, absolutely, brother. More than happy to doodle on the shirt. So, yeah, whoever wins that shirt, send over whatever the heck size, and we'll get Eddie to do his artwork on it.
Dude, honestly, you need to have that shirt and then not ever wash it.
It'd be totally cool.
Also, everybody, special thanks to Trusted Sec and Dave Kennedy for donation matching up to 2K this hour. So, again, those of you interested in donating, we've got matches going on pretty much all day. So thank you, Dave and Trusted Sec for that.
Absolutely, great cause.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna hit that 25.
For sure, it's happening.
We're already. Does that 91? Does that count towards the matching that we have already?
No, we're at 19.
I'm actually doing the math right now, and so we'll be getting back to you pretty soon. But
wait, we're at 19.
During Kennedy's part, it's very realistic that we could tip the scales over the 25K. So we're watching it close, and I'll get back to you soon.
It's a lot closer than it looks on the donation tracker.
Is that going to go up the donation tracker so people can see? Because I don't believe it. I'm sorry. You guys can throw out any number you want. You can be like, oh, we're at $5,000, $100,000, and I don't believe it. I see a tracker and it says 91. That's what I'm going by.
I'm happy to add the 10K in right now, just to make you feel better.
You can't just add it. It has to be real.
Oh, it's real. It's tangible.
So anyhow, this book. Someone just said this was the largest competitor for Charmin. Thank you.
So Chris, we're going to go ahead and we're going to update that tracker with all of the donations that qualify, just if that'll make you more comfortable.
Yep.
Then we'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, but only if it's real. Only if it's real.
Oh, it's real.
I don't want you lying. I don't want you daving on me. See, look at Dave's face. You know he's doing something awful right now. You know it.
Yes, I am.
You have that face that says, "I'm planning something horrible for Chris."
It's not planning. It's not. I wouldn't consider it horrible, but
well, of course you wouldn't. You don't consider anything horrible that you've done to me over the last decade and a half.
That's very true. That's very true. It's out of friendship though, is why we've always done it. I mean, like this is a good example right here. Remember this?
Oh, come on, seriously. Yeah, I remember that.
DerbyCon was great. I missed that. I missed trying to troll you during presentations and stuff like that.
Yeah, I missed DerbyCon too.
Yeah.
It was sad that when September rolled around last year, and it was like, oh wait, we're not planning for anything.
Well, what's great about it is I think we made the right call.
Dude.
Based on everything happening.
Unbelievable. Seriously, this year would have been pretty crappy because we're not traveling anywhere.
Yeah. We just had a Cynical Cypher and looks like Dave as well just both donated $500. So it's happening, man.
Dave, you're already matching stuff. You can't donate to your match. I forgot
I'm matching too. Sorry.
You're donating to your match. I mean.
Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Another couple of hundred in as well. Hopefully we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna have to pause somewhere now. I got a pair of dogs that are looking at me, debating, demanding lunch. So,
see you, Roberts.
All right.
See you,
everybody, take care. I'll hang out on the Twitch stream. Bloody good to see everybody. Thanks for everything.
Later.
So what's going on, Dave? How's life?
I will tell you, obviously horrible situation, everything that's going on right now, but it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me personally. Just, the sheer cut of travel and spending time with family and, doing, I'm cooking every day. I'm working out every day. I'm in the best shape I've been in probably ever, probably since the Marines at least. It's all that stuff combined is I really don't think I'm going to go back to traveling again. I think I'm done.
Really?
I think I'm done. I think I'm done speaking at conferences. I think I'm, I might still do like 1, 2, or 3 a year. Like 3 max is probably my thing. Maybe, something like DEF CON still. I enjoy seeing folks then. Potentially Wild West Hack and Fest. But I think I'm done with the whole travel circuit stuff. I did my time.
I know it feels good, right? Doesn't it? I mean, I miss some travel, but it feels good to not be, on the road like 50, 60% of the week.
Yeah, it was. I was traveling, anywhere between 2 to 3 times a week, or 2 to 3 times a a month for, weeks at a time. So I'd be gone, I'd be see my family, maybe on the weekends, maybe once a month.
Yeah.
And all that time, it really puts a toll on your body. It puts a toll on your health. It puts a toll on your family. You miss things. I remember getting pictures when my kids are doing baseball and I'm sitting there, watching, my wife stream FaceTime from the hotel room. It's like those types of stuff that you can't get back. Right. And, right now it's, while we're obviously social distancing and doing other stuff, baseball's still been up for our kids, which is great.
Wow. Really? Wow.
Yeah. So we got baseball in and that's been awesome. So, the players can't go in the mound area or the bench area. They stay in the back. They all social distance, and it's pretty. They do a good job kind of keeping everybody away, parents away.
Wow.
So we've been doing baseball with the kids, which has been kind of some sense of normalcy. But everything's been great. I hate saying that, obviously, in horrible. I know a lot of people are going through a lot of tough times.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's been great for me.
Our industry is interesting because the last few times that the world or the U.S. has gone through recession or problems, our industry seems to still be okay as a whole.
Yeah.
It seems like whenever things go bad, cyber crime goes up. So,
April, I can't agree with you on that one. April just said, I can't wait to travel again. I just can't do it. Good on you. I'm glad you do. But I don't want to hop on another plane again.
What I look forward to is traveling with my family again.
Yeah. We had some trips scheduled that we all canceled up and everything. Actually, last week I was supposed to be in Grand Cayman for a week with the family.
Yeah.
That did not happen. So
this week is my 26th wedding anniversary. Been married 26 years this week.
Congrats.
And we were supposed to be in Italy. Thank you. Yeah.
We've almost been married just as long.
Really?
That one time in Vegas?
Oh, you and me. Oh, dude, no. Let's not go there. No.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna hop off.
See you,
Hey,
Zoe.
Zoe.
Bye, Zoe.
Bye.
Thanks for hopping on.
No, I'll probably jump on later and play some games with you guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye. Yeah, so we were supposed to be in Italy, relaxing and hanging out, and that didn't happen. So I do look forward to traveling again with my family. But yeah, I'm with you. It's been nice to not be on the road all the time.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just for the sake of our audience, I just heard there was a marriage in Vegas story here.
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't.
That's
there
what it
wasn't.
sounds like. I think there needs to be a story told.
So anyway, travel. So there was some travel, and do I have power to boot, Shane? Do I have that power?
Listen, what goes on in Vegas is supposed to stay in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Dude, can you believe it's been what? We knew each other, 2004?
Oh, boy. So, yeah, man. Because it was before OffSec. It was before the course. It was before the book. So it's got to be 2004, 2005.
That, what the industry is today was very different 16, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And, what's crazy is, we were in IRC and I remember, I got to tell a story. Come on. But, we had a group that was called Remote Exploit, and the whole try harder concept really came from IRC days where people would come in and they wouldn't do their research. They wouldn't do their homework, and they would just ask, easy questions like, hey, how do I power on my, computer? Well, hey, if you research how to power on your computer, that will make you stronger versus asking others for the thing. And I really do believe in that concept. A lot of people, I think information, you should have access to information. People should help mentor and teach you, but you, in order to be, a good security practitioner, should be able to figure out puzzles on your own. So going through things and learning and understanding things to understand what you're going after, the target that you're going after, because you're going to run into situations that you've never seen before, and there might not be an answer for. And so you have to come up with something or create something that's unique and different. And that try harder mentality really came from that remote exploit area with Mutts and the whole crew over there. And this is pre Backtrack. This is WAPIX and IWAX days, prior to Auditor and those ones, and the Linux distribution, live distribution CDs. And so what was funny about how I met Chris, I think the first time, was Chris hopped on IRC and he didn't try harder. He just asked, hey,
I did try harder. I was stuck. I could not get this old Dell I had. I couldn't get the network card to connect in Linux.
So Chris comes into this remote exploit channel, and I just want to state something that this is 16 years ago. So I've matured a smidgen, not much, but a smidgen.
Not much.
A smidgen.
Not much.
So he comes in and he asks, well, hey, I'm trying to get my my network drivers to work on my Dell. Does anybody know how to help me? And I responded back to him. I think I was a mod at the time or something like that. And I responded back to him and I said, hey man, just go to this website. It'll tell you how to get these drivers to work. And Chris, this is where I think the moment Chris understood social engineering. I think I was the father of Chris Hadnagy learning social engineering at this point. Okay, so he clicks a link. And it takes them to a horrible shock site of things you don't ever want to see. Like, don't ever want to see. It was horrible. It was horrible.
And let's just set the stage for how horrible, without getting into graphic detail. But my no judgment on anyone. My personal belief system, and this is all based in ILF and everything, is I hate pornography. I hate it. I don't look at it. And I worked at home at the time still. And I didn't have an office, so I'd be sitting in the living room and my tiny little daughter would be sitting on my shoulder. So I definitely avoided anything to do with that. And Dave sent me to one of the worst.
Yes, I did.
So I clicked it and slammed my laptop down, shutting it off because I didn't want to see it.
And so it gets better though.
Oh yeah.
So Chris comes back and you see human hacker, or it was Logan WHD at the time, right? So Logan WHD leaves the chat room, and he comes back on like 4 or 5 minutes later, and he's screaming at the IRC chat room like, I can't believe this guy here. I don't know, I can't remember what his name was, but I can't believe he would send me to this site and all this other stuff, and I'm really upset. So I responded back to him and I started messaging him back and forth, like building rapport and, establishing some credibility. I'm like, I'm so sorry. We booted him. What do you need help with? What can I help you out with? And then he asked again, and I sent him to a different shock site that if I remember correctly, it like takes over your browser and it like hops around and it plays the
shut it off
sound. It's like Anyways, yeah. So that was my introduction to Chris, and it was match made in heaven ever since. So
no, and then I said, next time we meet, we're gonna fight, because I was that angry. I'm like, that's it, done. We're gonna brawl. So I go down to ShmooCon, and I don't know what he looks like. I don't know anything, and I'm standing there with Mutts and the offset crew, and someone says, "Oh, hey, do you know Relic's here?" That was Dave's handle at the time before it was Hacking Dave. Relic's here, and I'm like, "Yeah, where is he?" So Mutz comes up and he's like, look, Dave wants to talk to you. He doesn't want to fight. He just wants to be friendly, So I'm like, look, man, that just was uncool. And he's like, look, just let him come up and apologize. And again, this may be the birth of my social engineering career, because Dave comes up and at the time he had no children, but he says to me, look, man, I heard you're working home with kids. I shouldn't have done that. I'm really sorry. Look, let me show you a picture of my kids. And he takes my phone out of my hand, and he's like supposedly going to load a picture of his kids, and he loads this site that puts background. It just was so terrible. I can't even describe it. So I try to hit him. He runs. We're gonna throw down. We're gonna fight. I'm like, I'm gonna kill him. That's it. There's no more apologies. And then he goes up to Mutz and he says, look, I really, really want to make up with Chris. Want to work this out. And I'm like, I'm not working out with him. Like, no, not happening. Gonna kill him. And somehow I got convinced that he's going to take me out to dinner that night. And we're going to work this thing out. And Dave had said, I'm driving. And I'm like, I don't want to he had this giant, like this Cadillac Escalade or something.
It was a GMC Acadia.
It had screens everywhere. And I'm like, no, as soon as I get in there, I know it's just going to be, there's going to be like porn everywhere. And I'm like, I don't want to go with them. No, I'm not doing it. And he's like, I promise, I swear I won't hurt you, nothing. So I was getting conflu and I was feeling pretty bad. So, I'm sitting in his front seat and I'm like, oh man, if I get sick in this guy's car, I'm never going to hear the end of it. And I'm dripping with sweat. And I'm like, dude, can we put the AC on? And he's like, yeah, put the AC on. Now, remember, this is 16 years ago, guys. So we didn't have all the tech in cars that we have now. So I got the air blowing on me and I leaned forward. And when I leaned forward, I realized all of a sudden I am not dripping with sweat anymore. I'm not as hot. So I leaned back and I'm like, what happened? And I'm like, dude, And then I reached out, I'm like, my arse is on fire. He had modified his car seat heater. Modified his seat heater to burn me.
What was great then is that it was just simple CAN bus instructions that you can send to the seat heater. So I was doing a replay, so it just kept jacking the temperature up super high. So it like literally you could probably boil eggs on the seat. I think it burned my leather actually on the seat.
Yeah. But my pants were charred. It was just a mess. We're on the side of the road. We're throwing down.
He's like dripping in sweat. I mean, and I'm sitting there driving, and we actually got to the steak place like 5 or 10 minutes before, but I kept pulling in circles trying to find parking. Yeah. And he's just dripping in sweat the whole time.
I thought I was going to get sick. I thought it was it. So, and then somehow we ended up being friends, and he came on the podcast and trolled me for years, and we've been talking about business and DerbyCon, and man, I don't know. Maybe
it's been out of mutual respect, right? You know, it's been out of having fun with it, and
maybe you should own Social Engineer LLC.
Remember the shirt incident at ShmooCon?
Oh my gosh. Okay, April, you'll appreciate this for what I just did with your apron. So Dave had all these shirts made to support. Who were we supporting?
It was the very first iteration of DerbyCon. It was before DerbyCon started. So DerbyCon started in 2011. Right. This is 2010 ShmooCon. And so we had a limited run of shirts created to help promote DerbyCon over at Shmoo. And it was, on the front it said, like it had like a DerbyCon logo, and on the back I think it said like a new HackerCon is born or something like that. And so, Chris is being awesome and super nice and supportive. He's like, I want a shirt so I can help support you guys and spread the word. I'm like, that's really nice of you, Chris. So I gave him a shirt. And Chris
the rule was we all had to wear them in the audience.
Yeah.
So that way we would stand up and support DerbyCon. So we all had to go change into our shirts.
So we're Adrian Iron Geek was giving a presentation at ShmooCon, and Chris is sitting right next to me at ShmooCon. So it's me, Chris, a few other people. We're all wearing these DerbyCon shirts, and I said, well, hang on, Adrian's going to give a big shout out to the whole DerbyCon thing, in his talk. And Adrian goes, hey everybody, just wanted to let you know that Dave made this video for me. I'm not sure what's on it. But I just want to show the audience what he's going to say. And in front of the entire audience of ShmooCon, I mean, there's probably 1,500 people there at least. It's the main ballroom area there. It's me, and it says, "Hey, Chris, if I plan this right, you're probably in the audience right now. I just want to let you know what I did to this shirt before I gave it to you." And it was me shaving, manscaping.
Manscaping.
Yep, and then wearing
on
it as
the
a diaper,
shirt.
Wearing it as
on
a diaper.
The shirt.
Yeah, onto the shirt, and then wearing it as a diaper as I did a 1.5 mile walk in hot downtown Washington D.C. And so it was me giving the same shirt to Chris. Now,
taking the shirt off, folding it, and then the video of him handing it to me in the lobby of the hotel. I ripped that shirt right off. I ripped that thing right off.
Oh, we had so many good times. For the record, I'm not that mean. I gave him a clean shirt.
I did not know that. So I sat in there. I'm literally trying to rip this shirt off, and he's like, wait, it's just a prank.
I was just a prank. I really did not do that.
Oh,
I will say, one of the things that I actually did try to do for DerbyCon is I really tried to get Bruce Hornsby. I actually tried to get Bruce Hornsby for 1 year to come and play one song on the piano, and I was going to have the piano roll out with Bruce Hornsby doing. I had it all planned out, but they wouldn't do one show, and it was like an insane amount of cost. So I didn't fly, but I was that close from pulling the trigger on Bruce Hornsby.
Yeah, okay, what about the poop throwing monkey that the hotel shut you down on because of OSHA?
Listen, I was partially involved in that. Partially, okay. I knew about it and I supported it and I tried making it work. But yes, the hotel was not okay with a poop throwing monkey in the middle of your talk. I thought it would have been a good idea. Right? I thought it would have been a good idea, but I had totally messed up in it.
You hear this, and now let's talk about the pranks I pulled on Dave.
Hang on, there was a good one.
Oh, there's one. Okay, so Dave's dad comes onto a podcast and leaks out that Dave has been deathly afraid of clowns his whole life. And like we're talking like a really terrible fear. So of course the whole community then is trolling Dave with clown pictures.
Still every day today.
It's just nonstop. And Dave pranked me every DerbyCon. So I actually went and bought a horror clown costume. like, you know, the really terrible one with the dislocated jaw zombie clown. And I hired a friend to stand on stage with the costume during my speech, you know, kind of just standing there like a bodyguard. So as soon as Dave came out to prank me, he'd see the clown and run. And it works perfect. So Dave comes out, and I tell him, look, if Dave comes, you chase him, you get him away from me, right? I need to finish the speech. Dave comes out running with 2 smeared off ices to ice me, sees the clown. He's like, holy crap, and runs. And the clown takes off after him. I'm like, victory, literally victory on stage. 5 minutes later, clown comes back, fist bumps me. I'm like, man, I love you, clown. He hands me a smeared off ice. I'm like, what are you doing? You're on my side. Pulls the mask off, and it's Dave. I mean, seriously, people, I can't win. I'm like, what's happening? They ran down the hallway. Honestly, Dave was afraid. Like, the fear in his eyes was real. I actually felt a little guilty because it was real fear. But then he pauses and he tells the clown, how about we switch costumes? We switch clothes.
Yeah. So what happened behind stage was pretty magical. So I was terrified. Like, you know, it was one of those things where you're like instinctive, like caveman, you know, like raw, you know, like pre-flight, you know, you're not even thinking, you're just going, right? You're not even in control anymore. Your entire body, you know, thousands of years of evolution is now coming out. And so I start booking it, and it was Jameson. Jameson was running like hell the entire time towards me, and I turn around because he's really close to me, and he looks in my eyes, and my eyes are like total fear, like I'm freaking out. And he's like, dude, it's just me. And he takes off the thing, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm like, well, hey, while we're here, can I wear the clown outfit and go to Chris? He's like, that's a great idea. And then the whole thing just turned around. It wasn't planned. It just happened to go that way. And then I got back on stage and still got you. So
so awful. I mean, just so awful.
My favorite one still to this day, by far, out of everything. And this is when, so if, you know, I have legitimately pranked Chris throughout my entire life. That's been like one of my whole goals, right? And it gets better and better. You know, I try to one up what I did previously, right? The one time that I legitimately wanted to help Chris was probably when I was still my biggest trolls. Even though I was 100% sincere and honest, and that was when I got Chris to go on Fox.
Oh God.
So
okay, no, we got to set the stage for this one.
Yeah.
We were at DEF CON, and we were up late, and we were partying and just hanging out, listening to music and drinking some whiskey, and we went to bed, I don't know, like 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we're up at Mutz's room, I think, until like I left at like 2:30. You were still there when I left.
2 hours. I mean, I go to bed because we have to get up the next morning and we got to do a bunch of stuff at DEF CON, you know? I get in bed, lay my head down, and my phone is ringing non-stop. Non-stop ringing.
It's like 6 o'clock in the morning.
And I look over and I see Dave, and I'm like, I hate him. I'm not answering this. And text, you got to answer. And I'm like, just leave me alone. I finally answer, and he's like, you got to come down here, man. I need you to go on the news. I'm like, I've gotten an hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep. I look like crap. I'm not showered. He's like, I don't care. Just put a T-shirt on and come down. So I said, okay. In my head, I said, this is another prank. I'll go down and I'll see what he wants. So I go down there, and Elwood's down there, who was like my buddy, and Dave's there. And Dave's like, come on, man. I need you to go on the news. Was it Snowden? What?
I don't know. I don't remember. It was something. It was something having to do with like being a hacking expert. I think it had to do with DEF CON.
It was okay. I
think something was released or something like that, and it was on the news.
Yeah, some horrible hack happened or something. Yeah. And he says, I need you on the news. I go, Dave, I haven't heard about this story. I don't know anything. He goes, it'd be fine. I'll feed you info on the way there. I'm like, no, I'm not falling for this prank. I'm tired. He's like,
so really quick, just a quick backstory on all of this. So, you know, Chris is completely skeptical. He's like this, you know, and there's a limo there to pick us up to go to the studio. He still doesn't believe this is real. And, you know, we're driving to the studio, and I still can't convince him that this is real. I'm like, Chris, I'm not playing around this time. I'm not trolling you. He's like, Dave, where am I going? Am I going to be tortured? You know, is this going to be a torture room?
Yeah.
You know, all these different areas. And so we pull into the studio, and Chris still doesn't believe me. Hang
on. Back up a second.
Yeah.
Because Dave says to me, we're in Caesar's Hotel. He goes, I got you a limo. I'm like, Dave, no, you didn't get a limo. We go outside. There's a limo. And the limo driver comes up, and he's got this growth coming out of his ear. I'm not even kidding. Do you remember that, Dave?
Yeah.
Like it was like all of these weird things coming out of his ears, and I said, no, see, Dave, I knew it. I knew that you made this up. Like, there's just no way. And I'm like, not trying to be mean, but this guy just wasn't a normal limo driver. So he's like, no, sir, I need you to come with me. I'm like, I'm not getting in this car. And Elwood's like, come on, it may be real. Let's just try it out. I'm with you. It'll be fine. He can't hurt you too bad. I'm like, that hurt me too bad. So we get in the back of the limo, and Dave's like, come on, man. Like, it's going to be okay. This is real. I'm being serious. And I'm like, dude, we're going to pull into an abandoned warehouse. There's going to be a bunch of like torture midgets there or something. And I'm going to end up on a milk carton. Like, come on, seriously, this is not even funny anymore. And he's like, I'm being serious, man. I swear to God. We pull into a Vegas strip mall that every building is abandoned. And I'm like, I knew it. I knew Dave was trying to get me. I knew it was not real. And he's like, I swear to God, man, I swear to God. We pull up to this one building. I mean, it's got like wood slats over the windows. It looks like it just was from a movie. And he's like, it's in there. And I'm like, oh crap. I mean, I know what's going to happen. We walk into the front thing, and it is a TV studio. I mean, it's a real, honest to God TV studio.
And Chris, again, hour and a half of sleep, wearing I think a social engineer t-shirt.
Yeah.
It hasn't shaved, looks ragged as hell, big bags under his eyes. In fact, I have a picture of that right here to show everybody of what it looked like.
So, well, actually, before you show the picture, before you put it up, hang on. Before you put it up, don't put it up yet.
Yeah, I still got to find it, so I need a couple seconds anyway.
I walk in, and I look at Dave, and I go, Dave, you're not lying. And he's like, I told you I wasn't lying. I'm like, but no, like this can't be real. Like, I'm not going on national television. He's like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And I'm like, no, Dave, I can't do it. And he's like, I don't even know about this story. He's like, it's okay. We're walking back. They're putting a mic on me. And Dave's telling me a little bit about the story, what I'm supposed to say. Elwood is texting my wife from my phone. And he's saying, hey, you want to check out Fox News in a few minutes? Chris is going to be on national television. I'm like, why are you telling her? Right? Then I sit down and I'm like, Elwood, what do I say? And Elwood says the perfect sentence telling me what to say. And I hear in the mic, Mr. Hadnagy, there'll be 3, 2, and then this is the first scene. Dave, you have the picture? This is the first scene. There it is. That is the opening scene. On Fox Live, not recorded. Fox Live News.
It was. And let's switch it off really quick. So, because I think I have to talk in order to get the screen there. And you can see, so what was funny about this is that when Chris is doing it, he's really serious, and he's like, "What am I doing, Dave? Why are you doing this, Dave? What do I do?" And then everybody's like, "Yes, this is Chris. Okay, thank you." And then that's it. And then he's literally on Fox News, national television, talking about a topic he has no idea what he's talking about. It was
my very first TV appearance. Okay. And Dave is in the background whispering the things I'm supposed to say. I have a mic in this ear, and this guy says to me, so the report, the story's on .org. You can see it in the resource. You can actually watch it. It's hilarious. The guy says to me, so he says my name right.
I remember this.
Right. He interviews me, and then he goes, well, how would you feel? You served in the military. And I'm like, no, I mean, I never served in the military. I didn't want people thinking like stolen valor or anything. And I'm like, no. I said, no, I've never served in the military. And they're like, what? I have here that you were, you worked for the DOD and you were a Marine. And I'm like, oh, that's Dave's. Like, he's reading Dave's bio, and he thinks it's me. And I'm like, no, that's the guy who was supposed to be on the news. And he's like, and the guy gets really flustered. And he's like, so, but if you were in the military, how would you feel about this? And I'm like, man, I don't know. Nobody likes their dirty laundry being out in the open. And he's like, and he just cuts the interview off. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Dave, I hate you. I literally hate you.
It was great. The funny story behind all of that is I think Kevin Mitnick gave the opportunity to me, and I said, sure, I'd go and do it. But I didn't. I was working at Diebold at the time, and I hadn't gone through our corporate communications, and I hadn't gone through the official corporate communication training program or something like that. So they told me that I couldn't go and do the interview, and so they kiboshed it. Now eventually they'd let me go start to go through and going and doing them. But at the time they wouldn't let me do it. So Chris was actually doing me a favor to help me out, because I had already said I would do it, and then I had to back out because of my company. And so, Chris, you did an okay job.
You could see it. You could see it on. Actually, take votes. Anyone want me to play it? Because I can find it and we can play it.
I think that'd be awesome.
Okay, let me see if I could do this.
There's just so many different, times that we've had that good times and hanging out. And it's crazy. Like, I was just going through some, like, talking about what we're going to be talking about today and kind of reminiscing on some of our memories. I remember the very first year you did the social engineer CTF at DEF CON. And I remember you were almost in tears coming upstairs because I think the FBI called you and people were freaking out, people were freaking out about it. I made all this news and it was like blowing up, and all the news organizations were saying hackers are breaking in all these companies. And I remember we were up there with Mutz and Iris and, Dookie and all those guys. And you're just like you're all like, shivering because you're like, am I going to go to jail? What's going to happen here? And it was, but that really kickstarted a whole evolution of things that's totally acceptable, obviously now. That's totally legitimate and welcomed and really pushed the industry forward. So, I mean, people don't see a lot of the backside of how a lot of this started, like socialengineer.org and the social engineer toolkit, spawned out of IRC chats with us, and all that stuff is just, it's crazy how that changed the industry for a completely different approach than before.
You put that together. Yeah. Another funny prank story. Well, it wasn't prank. I thought I was being pranked. Is when I got my first call from the FBI about the SCCTF. I thought it was Dave pranking me.
Yeah.
And the agent
you actually
called
said
me.
On the phone, "Is this Dave?"
Yeah, I said, "Dave, that's not funny," and I hung up on the agent. And I get a call back, and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, Dave." Again, he's like, "Sir, please don't call me Dave, and don't hang up on me again." And I'm like, "This is not Dave Kennedy, is it?" He's like, "I don't know who Dave Kennedy is, but no, I told you my name." And I'm like, crap. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Do I have the ability to share, Shane? Who's the host, Shane?
Second, let me see if I can get you that.
Hey, small
You are the
update
host.
while we've got a break.
Make me co-host, Shane.
April also won your book. She's using them bucks to her advantage.
What?
We are at $21,887 total.
No.
You wanted an update? There you go.
No.
And we are now opening up the swag bag for $1. So exclamation raffle 1 will get you entered in for $1 for the raffle.
We're at $21,000.
If you want to check the swag bags, you could do exclamation prizes. There's great pictures on there. There's also a nice model job done by John Mitchell showing what's in the bags. So there's video out there on YouTube too if you want to check it out. But that's all I got to interject here. You guys go back to your wonderful chat.
Shane, make me a co-host, please. You're muted. Just click on participants and then hover over me, the social engineer one. Please.
I'm muting attention. My dog's barking in the background.
You guys got to see this video.
You are co-host.
It doesn't say it. No, you made the wrong guy co-host. The one that's called social engineer.
Got it.
Please. Do it.
Go for it.
Okay. Let's see. So, for those of you, this is for your viewing pleasure. Oh, wait, hang on. I have to share sound. This is for your viewing pleasure, the time that Dave tortured me.
One of the times.
Pleasure. One of the times on national television. Okay, here we are. Tortured me.
One of the times.
John?
The WikiLeaks release of military secrets.
Here we are. Tortured me. Let's see. The volume is really low. Can you guys hear that okay when I played it?
Secrets.
Here we are. Tortured me.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Can you guys hear that okay when I played it?
I think you need to mute the.
We're getting an echo, guys.
Yes.
You're getting an echo somewhere.
Okay. Can you guys hear that okay when I played it? Yeah, where's my echo?
I think you need to mute the.
We're getting an echo, guys.
Yes.
You're getting an echo somewhere.
Okay. Can you guys hear that okay when I played it? Yeah, where's my echo?
I think you need to mute the.
We're getting an echo.
Oh,
guys.
I know where it is. Okay. Can you guys hear that okay when I played it? Yeah, where's my echo? There we are. I'm dumb.
That was awesome. Good
Okay.
job.
Thanks. Okay, let's try this again.
Highlights the new security.
WikiLeaks. That's what it was, Dave. WikiLeaks.
That's right. That's right. Remember that.
Challenge we face in a computer age. The issue is now front and center at a hackers convention in Las Vegas. It's called the Black Hat Computer Security Conference. Retired General Michael Hayden, the former CIA chief, warning the conference that the government secrets pouring through WikiLeaks could sabotage intelligence sharing. And he also warns that could have very dangerous consequences in the post-9/11 world. Chris Hadnagy is a hacking expert. He joins us now live.
Oh, my God.
Chris, first of all...
Dude, look at that. wait. Just watch.
Dangerous consequences in the post-9/11 world. Chris Hadnagy is a hacking expert. He joins...
I mean, I just there's just like poop coming out right now. That is so terrible.
The funny part about all this is like right before, you're like, Dave, what am I doing? Dave, what do I talk about? Dave, what am I? Wait, yes, I'm here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
I mean, oh my gosh, I look so done. That's terrible. Okay, here it comes. Okay, this wait. Hey, this is terrible. Whew, okay.
Joins us now live. Chris, first of all, we think of the government as having extremely
I think the video cut out for a second.
strong.
Not seen it? Oh. Okay, hold on.
Maybe just refresh it.
Yep. Let me screen share. Okay.
Hacker protections, leak protections, and and so on. It was the Defense Department, after all, that invented the internet. What happened here?
Well, I'm not actually sure what occurred, or how these leaks occurred. I think there was just a brief news story linking that one individual with the leaks. But the information being out there really has both positive and negative effects, in my opinion.
You're a military veteran, right?
I am not, no.
Oh, all right. Well, but you were, well, at any rate.
See, that's where he's reading your bio. He's reading your bio, and
he's like, well,
yeah.
at any rate.
Oh my gosh, he thinks I'm you, and it's like, what do I do now?
And when this kind of stuff gets out there, I mean, if one Army private turns out to be the source for these 90,000 leaked documents, you got to think the Pentagon is going to have to take a closer look at who it allows to have access to this kind of information.
Yes, the problem with information release on the internet is the same whether it's an individual or it's a government, like in this case. Anytime information is put out on the internet, it can be very damaging and embarrassing, like airing your dirty laundry all over the world. We see this every day in the security community with people using social media sites in order to release information to the whole world, and then they end up getting hacked. Identity thieves, things like that, attack them. Well, this is just on a very much larger scale, where all this information being released from the government, in one way, information is power. That's the old adage. So it's nice for people who want to be informed about these situations. They now have this information, but on the same hand, now this dirty laundry is out in the open of the government, and it's airing them, and it could be damaging, and it can be embarrassing.
Chris Hadnagy, a hacking expert there at that Black Hat conference. Chris, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, we just got a sobering.
Oh my gosh, man!
Dude.
What a blast from the past.
So good, so good. The best part about that was, afterwards, I think we went and actually had a couple drinks at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to calm you down because you're a wreck. But
I was a wreck, man. I mean, well, I said nothing of intelligence. I was like, so it's good, it's bad, it's somewhat good, it's somewhat bad.
You did great. Listen, as bad as the situation as that was, and even when the guy said, well, you're in the military, you said, well, no, I'm not. You handled that appropriately. Yeah, it's friggin' golden, and we'll make fun of you because we know the backstory behind it, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, especially for your first interview on Fox, you did great.
Yeah, my first interview ever on national television, and I get a call from my wife right after, and she's like, "What were you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know." I'm like, "It was Dave." She's like, "That Dave. Every time you say something, it's Dave, and I'm like,
"It's always
I know.
Dave. It's always Dave." Oh, that's the best part about it is, when you do media, and you've done a lot more obviously since then, you never know what questions are going to ask, and
yeah.
I like to think that I was helping you prepare for those types of situations and make you stronger as an expert in the industry, Chris.
Yeah. You definitely were helping. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you the story about the Iranian nuclear expert?
No.
So this was about a year ago when all the stuff, all the heightened stuff was going on with the Iran cyber warfare stuff, and the tensions with over in Iraq and Iran and all those other things, like Iran was going to retaliate maybe 6 months ago or something like that. And I was going on a news organization, I won't say which one, but they got the segments mixed up, and I was supposed to be the cyber expert, and they had an Iranian nuclear expert come on. And they introduced me as the Iranian nuclear expert.
No.
And this is live, and I didn't handle it well because I immediately started sweating out of every orifice possible, like my ears, my nose, I've never sweat. I never sweat on my face. Like for some reason, I just don't sweat very often on my face. I sweat everywhere. Like you could like take a washcloth and like it would be wet by like this. I've never sweat underneath my nose before. I didn't know that was possible. I didn't even have glands there. And so like, in a situation like that where you're panicking, your brain is kicking in an overdrive, right? And it's, you think you're being attacked, your body's like freaking out. And so, you have two options. One is you could do what you did, which I think was a great answer, and say, hey, I know I wasn't in the military, or, hey, no, I'm not the Iranian nuclear expert, I'm a cyber expert. But instead I panicked and I tried to become the Iranian nuclear expert.
Oh no.
And so I'm like, I freaked out, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Am I going to correct them live on TV? I'm live on TV. And so
you tried to be an Iranian nuclear.
Yeah. So they started asking me like, so back in like 1982, the Iranian Treaty of blah, blah, blah. I have no idea what that is. And I'm like, well, yeah, Iran is obviously, continuously increases the hostility, and that treaty, probably isn't the best, form, and we should relook at doing that. However, I'd like to talk about, what's going on now from the potential threats from cyber. So I tried navigating it towards cyber, and the lady's like, well, thank you, David, for the cyber stuff. We're actually have somebody coming on right after this to talk about cyber. So we'll hold that off till that. Let's go back to the nuclear treaty stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I literally had to be an Iranian nuclear expert for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds on national TV. And then afterwards, I can hear the producers like scrambling around in the background. Like, we got the segments wrong. He's a cyber guy, blah, blah, blah. And so then they abruptly cut the segment short. And then they apologized profusely afterwards. So,
oh
I don't
man,
think there's any record of that video online, thank God. But it's amazing.
They didn't release it
sometimes when you do that.
Oh, that would be epic if it was released, though.
Yeah, a lot of fun times, man. It's crazy. When you look at 16 years ago, we've been doing this. When I was still in the Marines, I remember I was on IRC when I was in Iraq, and.
Wow.
And Mutz was a huge instrumental to my career. And I remember, him talking to me about picking up Python, and getting into exploit research and to build my own tools. My first tool that I ever wrote was Fast Track, which was an exploitation framework, and it was like it was horribly programmed. It was like all try except blocks. I didn't understand functions. I didn't understand you could split modules up, and it was just like one big massive try except block that you could go through. And eventually morphed into what's known as a social engineer toolkit today. And I got better at it with Unicorn and a lot of these other open source tools, the pen testers framework. But I remember, in IRC, we were talking about how, social engineering wasn't a thing. When we were doing this, no one was doing social engineering. Attackers weren't doing social engineering. Companies weren't testing for social engineering.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, the focus was on web applications. Web applications was the massive focus on penetrating from the outside and hacking in and developing weaponization and tools and exploits. And exploits are relatively easy then. You looked at what CDC, released with back orifice. And I mean, like building exploits and weaponization exploits was really easy. But it was like right in that middle point where, exploits started to get a little bit harder. People started to develop more secure coding practices. Now, not great, but getting better. And, we were all just kind of talking around, and you're like, listen, I'm thinking about building this social engineer framework to explain the damages of what can happen through social engineering. And I'm like, well, let's work together and I'll build a tool for social engineering. And that's where the social engineering toolkit started. That's where the social engineer framework started. It really started from IRC chats of like, hey, no one's doing this. It's a huge risk. I don't know why people don't take this seriously. Companies aren't taking it seriously. And look at how much damage it can create. And literally, it was one of the first things out there. I think it was the first thing out there for actually formalizing social engineering and security.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember when I came to you with the idea for the SE toolkit, it was literally, what would be really cool, Dave, is if there was a tool out there that can clone a website
Yeah.
and then send a phishing email to draw people to that website to collect credentials. That was it. It was just like this crazy, and you're like, dude, I could do that in Python. I'm like, no, come on, really? And you wrote it, I think the next day.
Yeah.
I had a prototype in my inbox, and I'm like, holy crap, you just created a website cloner that I can then send a phishing email to that site. And I know there was other ones out there, like HTTP track, I think was available then. But the thing you created was it like cloned the site so perfectly that you didn't have those weird like headers that moved and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh no, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then that's when my brain went wild. I'm like, you know what would be really awesome is if we can also then send multiple phishing emails. And then I think eventually it was like, what if we can SMS them links? And you had like every couple weeks you were coming out with a new version.
It was crazy. That actually is what really got me hooked on the coding aspects of things. When you have, Mutz told me this. He's like, whenever you're learning programming, learn programming from the concept of build something that you don't think is possible.
Yeah.
That would help you do your job better.
Yeah.
And what really homed in with the social engineer toolkit was when I started building it out, there was nothing else out there like that was for social engineering. And so I started, weaponizing and putting like the Java applet attack out there, which, at the time was incredible. That lasted the Java applet attack lasted for like 10 years before Java actually fixed unsigned coding Java. And it was largely because every talk I'd give, I'd be like, Java sucks, Java sucks, Java sucks. And finally they changed it. So, it was really cool to be part of that whole, initial essentially history around social engineering and security, and to build that out and to weaponize it and to show the damages that could actually occur. That was so much fun when we actually went through and did it. And it's just something that, like I look back at, I'm like, man, those are just crazy times. Like security was just so different. It was so informal. And,
it was different times, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, it really was. And I'm not saying now isn't better. We have so much, so much good stuff happening in the industry. We have so much diversity happening, programs for college folks, coming in, people learning. Like we never had any of that. We had to learn on our own. When we went into remote exploit, you had to learn, you had to figure things out. There wasn't training classes on how to hack. You had to figure it out on your own. And I love how it's changed that where you have a full-fledged industry, but it was a lot different. It was crazy. It was cutting edge. It was, things that we were doing that no one had done before. I remember giving the very first ever PowerShell security talk. I get it with, I did it with another individual named Josh Kelly. Him and I gave the very first ever PowerShell security talk. This when PowerShell first came into beta. And I said, listen, Microsoft's looking at embedding this into Windows Vista Service Pack 2 and all future releases in Windows. And it's going to be a major front of attack. And we wrote a bunch of tools and techniques. Like we wrote I was childish back then. I thought it was pretty funny. Is I wrote a Metasploit module called Power Dump, which I thought was funny. Referencing obviously using the bathroom. So Power Dump was released, which was dumping the SAM database through PowerShell. We released reverse shells, bind shells, a bunch of new stuff for PowerShell that had never been done before, and no one was even talking about PowerShell. It was brand new. I was the first person ever to talk about PowerShell security and how it was going to impact our industry. And to go back at those days, you're like, man, I was right. I was like, well, hey, I actually said it was going to be a major attack surface, and it actually I talked to Jeff Snover, who's a good friend of mine now. And Jeff Snover is the creator of PowerShell. And, he said, Dave's talk was literally Dave and Josh's talk was literally the catalyst of what spawned the PowerShell security team over at Microsoft to get better at PowerShell.
Wow.
And Jeff considers me the father of PowerShell security, which is, just crazy that, I was just a kid, working at a company and a rep comes in and says, hey, PowerShell's coming out, you should check this out. I'm like, I think I can hack that, and it's just, that type of stuff was just awesome. Having people dancing on stage with bananas and
I think that's the difference between security 16 years ago when we started this, Dave, and now is it was more like the Wild West. So we were figuring stuff out. We were just flying by the seat of our pants, and like you said, when we started the SE stuff, I didn't know if it was going to turn into a thing.
Yeah, no
it's
clue.
just that I was good at it, so I liked it. So I'm like, let's try this. Who knew it was going to become an industry? Who knew that Power Dump was going to make everything better for Microsoft down the road?
Had no clue. We were out there exposing the risks to show that hey, this stuff is possible and we need to get a handle on it or it's going to be worse off down the road.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, you look at what's occurring and it's you look at kind of the foundational steps. You know, you look at like Call to Dead Cows and the Shmoo Group, and you know all the early hackers out there that created a foundation for us, and Jeff Moss and all those guys.
Yeah.
It's just really created a foundation. And during that time, the next kind of wave hit, and now we're having another wave, and it's just now you have a lot of security researchers out there today just finding just amazing things, especially looking at Microsoft Azure platform, and you look at what Durkeon's doing with the Roadhouse tools, and just researchers just sharing their things and being brilliant. But it's a lot different now than it was 15 years ago, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, that's true. It's really true, and
We're
it's
getting
pretty
old.
awesome.
We're getting old.
In another 10 years, you and I will be sitting on the beach with a Smirnoff Ice going, remember those days?
Yeah. Someone asked
my
if there's
gosh.
an Enigma behind me, and this is an Enigma behind me, but it's
You have an Enigma machine?
It's
How
a
did you get
replica.
that?
It's a replica. It's not real. It's not real.
Okay.
It's not real. I wish I had a real Enigma, but it is a replica Enigma, obviously for the cryptography aspects around what won us the war. So a lot of history behind that. So I thought it was pretty cool to go and get it.
Yeah, that is cool, man.
And so if anyone wants to ask questions, I know we only got about maybe 5 minutes left or whatever. But I'm happy to answer any questions you have out there at all. I'm happy to share any dirt on Chris that you want. If you want his personal phone number, I'll give you that as well. His home address, anything you want for Chris. These hats.
Bring up questions for Dave. Come on.
So these hats, three of them are still at the office. But every year at DerbyCon, we Agent White, you can just ask him in the Twitch stream. I'm looking at it right now. So every year at DerbyCon, I had folks sign DerbyCon hats for every year, the people that were instrumental to me in the conference. And so each year from DerbyCon 1 to DerbyCon 9, I have personal hats for each and every year to represent the people that really made DerbyCon possible. From the speakers to the staff to the attendees, you look back at this and you look at some of the names, and people that you just haven't seen for a long time, and people you look back and you reminisce, on the times that you had during those periods of years. So for me, it's a lot of memories. Obviously, DerbyCon's a big part of my life, for me, these hats are representative of that too. So.
Someone asked, what advice would you give someone just getting into the industry?
Great question. And I get this question a lot. And my biggest thing for somebody is security is something that you can learn. Security is something that is not unobtainable. Security is something that is not rocket science. And so when you figure those three things out, but then you look at the industry like, wow, that person's super brilliant and they're doing all this crazy stuff and I don't know how to do that. Well, they came from the same place as you. And they're learning from the same place as you. But now you have much more resources available to learn and to make yourself even better than that person. And so, when I look at the industry today, there's so much opportunity. So the biggest thing for me is find something you like that interests you, whether that's pen testing, whether that's exploit research or research in general, whether that's web applications or mobile, and make that your hobby. For me, when I was writing the Social Engineer Toolkit and I was writing exploits and I was figuring out how to bypass data execution prevention before there was ever ROP gadgets and things to that effect, it was a hobby for me. I enjoyed doing it. I loved it. I would, when my kids, I didn't have kids at the time. So, when Aaron would go to bed, I would be downstairs hacking till 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I wouldn't sleep sometimes for 2, 3 days in a row because I was figuring things out that I could do that I couldn't do yesterday. And I remember this clear as day. There was a debt bypass that I was working on for. It was offensive security. It was just about to come out with some of those core. Actually, it was before offensive security. There was an exploit DB. Actually, I think at the time it's still Millworm. So it was Millworm. And there was an exploit on there that was like a really good buffer overflow. It was real simple stack-based overflow where you control EIP and then you redirect execution flow. It didn't have anything crazy in it. And it was right when data execution prevention came out. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to bypass data execution prevention. And there was a great FRAC article from, I think it was Egypt at the time that had like conceptual ways of getting around data execution prevention. I could not figure this out for the life of me. I spent like 2 weeks on the couch figuring out what DEP was, how it worked, how I can get around it. And eventually I wrote an exploit for SL Mail that had data execution prevention incorporated into it. And that was kind of like early on ROP gadgets before ROP gadgets were a thing. And obviously it's been improved since then and DEP's been improved, but and the way to get around DEP has been improved. But at that time it was just figuring out something that I hadn't known before and and now I know how to do it. And that's the try harder mentality of making it your hobby, making your interest, having fun with it. But also recognizing you don't want to kill yourself and burn yourself out. You know, you can very easily burn yourself out in this industry, and you know, make it fun. Find something you like doing that's fun. And so for me, hacking is not a job; it is my way of life, right? And everything I do revolves around that. I mean, obviously, family first and everything else, but you know, everything else revolves around me and hacking. That was what was successful for me.
That's great, man. That's really great. Someone's asking if you've ever run into a predator during a pen test.
I have not. I have not ran into a predator during a pen test. Some of my most interesting times, I ran into other compromised organizations where we recognize other adversaries are there. That's always not great. So, you know, the company's already compromised and they have active adversaries in their environment that have been in there either for, you know, weeks, months, or years. I've run into that a number of cases. I have run into instances where, you know, we find, you know, pornography on, you know, corporate assets and things to that effect. But nothing to that effect. Luckily, you know, God bless what you all do. You know, I don't know. I don't think I could do that in any way, shape, or form. I just, you know, it's just a horrible thing. And obviously getting the people off the streets is the best way to do it. I don't think I could ever deal with that type of stuff. So appreciate what you all are